What makes a small business successful? I'm going to give you 8 tried and true specific steps to ensure you're successful. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights. All right, so if you're exploring, hey, what makes a small business successful? I'm going to give you 8 specific steps on how that works. Now, I've started my first of 16 companies when I was 19. I have built them, bought them, sold them, and wrecked a couple. I have helped hundreds and hundreds of people start businesses, and I've seen this over and over and over and over. They're pretty simple, and when you do this, you can very, very, very safely transition and know without any question that you're going to be successful. So the first thing is starting with the end in mind. And what I mean by this is define, what do you want your lifestyle to look like? What do you want your world to look like? And then figure out what is the right business that's going to fit within that structure. This sounds crazy, but usually people do it backwards. They say, I want to start this business, and then they try and make their life fit into the business. And as a result, they're in this constant whack-a-mole, and there's a lot of people out there who have businesses who feel trapped and they're not happy. And as a result, they aren't going to be nearly as successful as they could be. If you like, you can go to our website at aspiringsolopreneur.com. And about 2/3 of the way down the page, there's a tool called the balance wheel. You're welcome to take it. It doesn't cost anything. It's free. You go in there, trade an email and some information, but then it'll help you define what success looks like for you on a holistic level. And it'll give you a printout that looks kind of like this, whatever yours may be, in 4 different quadrants. But when you start with that and say, okay, now what kind of business do I want to make sure fits within the lifestyle that I want? That's how you're going to do that first step. All right, now the second step is to do your research. Research, 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 research. It has never been easier to figure out and start small business, and safer. Because you can let your fingers do the walking. You can email people, call people, talk to people, Google the daylights out of stuff. But start thinking about what is the product or service you're looking to provide. List that out, get it about 2/3 of the way done. And then act as if you're in that position and you're trying to solve it. And go out and start looking around. How are other people solving this problem? Don't be afraid of reaching out, talking to people. Call them up and say, hey, I'm thinking about doing this. You may be surprised at how often people are willing to help more than feel like, oh, well, you're going to be competition. Yeah, maybe you are, maybe you aren't. Usually, though, most people are more than excited to have people enter the field and start understanding where they are and how can we get better and stronger with it? How can we help each other? You find those right people, it'll make a difference. When you start to research, you're going to see how are people doing, and you're going to find, is this viable or is it not viable? What is the area that I want to twist it? How do I make a tweak? What is my unique skills? Do I need to get some new skills? How is it that we can do this and offer it in a way that's going to solve the problem better than anybody else? All right, the third thing is to build a team of advisors. Now people are like, Kluver, man, I don't have a lot of money. It's okay, you don't have to have a lot of money. And in fact, again, at aspiringsolopreneur.com, we have a whole course that you can take that we specifically talk to you about how you build a great team of advisors at no cost to you that will help support you. And then when you decide you're going to launch, then you can launch and you'll have some expenses then, but not much. A great team of advisors is going to consist of a small business accountant, a small business attorney, a small business banker, small business insurance agent, maybe a small business real estate person, and maybe a small business marketing person. But each one of those people will invest time and energy with you all day long to, they'll give you a half hour, 45 minutes to help get you started on the right path, and it'll expand your research. They'll help you understand, what do I need to be aware of for taxes, for financial structures, for liabilities, for insurance, for those types of things. And, excuse me. And if you found the right people, they may even know other people in that industry that can help you, define what success looks like and help you get, and introduce those people. They may have said, I helped somebody with this and we went down the road and the guy got clobbered because of this and this. It's how can you build that team around you that has the experience that can help you avoid those blind spots. All right, so once you start doing this, you've been able to start with the end in mind. You've started and you've done your research to see how people are solving this and how you're going to be unique. You've built that rockstar team of advisors around you. Well, the next thing is to build a plan. How is it you're going to go through and execute it? And a plan, this is in essence, it's a business plan, and it's easy to do, but you need to understand, what are my taxes going to be? What are the insurance? Where am I going to get my supplies, my materials? Where am I going to do the work? Who am I going to find people? How are we going to find those people? And again, there's lots of questions around this, but build the plan. Now remember, you haven't spent a penny yet. You've invested a fair amount of your time, but you don't have to spend any money to decide whether this is a good plan or not, and this is going to help define what makes your business successful. Now, the next step then is you have all those pieces together. I encourage you to go back and research some more. Constantly be learning. Go back and say, okay, now that I have a better understanding of these pieces, the taxes and the insurance is going to be a lot more than I thought it was. It means I'm going to have to raise my rate by 30%. Okay, if I raise my rate by 30%, I go back and review. It's like, okay, it's still fairly viable, but keep your research, keep your mind open, and keep trying those things. Now, the next step, and this is step 6, is make sure that it's a no-brainer. I like to steal from Charlie Munger, who's Warren Buffett's business partner. And I saw Charlie talk one time, and the question was, well, geez, Charlie, you guys are so smart, you're gurus. Like, no, we're not smart, we're not gurus. They research a lot. Charlie and Warren invest about 8 hours a day reading, researching. He says, we look at a lot of deals. We find a great deal, we research it. If it's a great deal, we do the deal. If it's an okay deal, we don't do the deal. But we only do no-brainers. I love that phrase, only do no-brainers. And there's a whole checklist in the book and in the course that says, is this a no-brainer? Yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, yes or no, and when you decide to do it. So when you decide, yep, this is a no-brainer, in essence, would you be an idiot not to do it? That's to me what the benchmark of a no-brainer is. Then at last, once you decide, yep, I'm going to do it, make sure you execute with ruthless but consistent accountability. You've got to hold yourself accountable. Remember, when you're starting a new business, those first few clients, it's not just a paycheck. More than anything, it's a referral. It's showing who you are and being great at what you're doing. It's going to be a future testimonial. It's going to be a learning curve because it might be a little lumpy. But if you do that and you show up every day with ruthless but consistent compassion and accountability of yourself, you're going to do a lot better. And then lastly, and this sounds silly, make sure you're having fun. If you dive into something and you start making it work, but it's really not what you love doing, I don't care who you are, within 6 months to a year, you're going to get burned out. It's going to suck. And if you do this wrong, you could end up feeling trapped. And I have seen this hundreds of times. So make sure that this is going to be, am I going to have fun doing this? Because when you do, you will do a better job. And as a result, you'll be more successful. Okay, so the 8 steps, just as a reminder, start with the end in mind. Figure out what amazing is going to look like for you, and then how is that business going to integrate into that life. Second, do your research, see how other people are solving it. Third, build that rockstar team of advisors. Fourth, build a plan. Fifth, go back and research some more. 6, make sure it's a no-brainer. 7, ruthless, consistent, compassionate execution. And lastly, make sure you're having fun. So ideally you found some value here. Please check out, we've got dozens and dozens of videos that go deep in all sorts of different aspects on this channel. And if you have any comments, feel free to reach out, subscribe to the channel, or welcome to go to aspiringsolopreneur.com. Thank you very much for watching. Keep smiling.